guys, so today I have my July wrap up for you all, and I don't know if you can tell, but I read a lot this month. So I ended up reading 14 books this month. Now that does include some manga and graphic novels, but holy cow, like that's insane. Wait, actually I read 15. No, I read 16 because I read 2 audiobooks in there too. This is bananas. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with all of the manga and graphic novels that I read in July because it sounds like this list is going to take me a long time to get through. So first I want to talk about Dragon Ball. I read 4, 5, and 6, which I have the bind up of. I've talked about it in a couple different videos. This is about a boy named Goku that he finds himself in these unlikely adventures with a whole bunch of friends that may or may not be able to help him. But these are mostly based on the Strongest Under the Heavens competition that him and Kuririn, I think, that they take a part of, and this is just a fun, silly series. I love it so much. I'm definitely going to continue in the next ones. We actually bought the next bind up while we were up in Virginia, so I definitely intend on reading more of these in August. And then for the graphic novels, they are all from the same series, and I'm sure you all can tell me what this series is. And that is Fables. I read 1, I don't have 2, so I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are all what the video game The Wolf Among Us, or A Wolf Among Us, I think it's A Wolf Among Us. Anyway, what that video game was based off of, and that is all of the fables that we kind of grew up knowing have all been forced out of their homelands by the adversary and are now trying to live in the normal human world. And it's not going so hot. I love this series. It's very dark and emotional compared to what I thought it was going to be, but really playing the game like I should have figured that out, because the game is super emotional and it has tough choices, and because it's like a choose your own adventure type game, which I love. But anyway, this series is going really well so far. I already have 7 through 10 to read during August as well. So I'm super excited to continue in that series because I'm having a really good time reading them. The next books that I'm going to talk about are the books that I read during the Witch Please Readathon, which thank you all so much if you participated. If you didn't and you just watched my vlog or just watched my updates on Instagram, that's fine too. Thank you for watching or commenting or cheering me on. I know a couple people participated and I absolutely love that. Next year, I will definitely put more planning into it, and there will be like prompts and challenges, and I think it'll just be a little bit more polished, but I will definitely do it again next year. And this readathon was basically all about reading books about witches, which I read 4. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is These Witches Don't Burn. I loved this book so much. 4.5 out of 5 star. Like, I can't give it a full 5. I don't know why, I just can't. This is about our main character Hannah, who she just went through a nasty breakup with this girl. Yes. And they are both witches from the same coven of elementals, so it's not like they're gonna disappear out of each other's lives anytime soon. So that kind of causes a whole bunch of turmoil amongst them. But they have bigger fish to fry because there is a blood witch that is out to hunt them down in their city, and there's a whole bunch of threats and it's scary, and they start trying to kind of lean on each other a little bit more. The romance side of this book is actually really cute. I was worried that this would get a little too contemporary or that would be a little bit too heavy-handed, but honestly, I loved it. This is so cute. I love all the main characters. I can't wait for the second one because on Goodreads it says there is gonna be a second one. I'm thrilled. I will immediately buy it. This was such a good book. Then the next one I'm gonna talk about. This is The Graces by Lori Eve. Now, I didn't hate this book. I gave it a 2-star, but I didn't hate it. The writing was so confusing. Nothing was super clear. I even listened to part of this in audiobook, still did not make a whole lot of sense. And there was one reviewer, they wrote that this was basically Twilight with witches, and I wholeheartedly agree. This was so random and so just all over the place. I don't know, maybe I didn't actually like this book at all. The main character is just the most unlikable, whiny little piece of work that I have ever read. Oh my gosh, this is obnoxious. And the supporting characters, the whole Grace's family, is just not, I don't know, is a mess. It's like the Cullens, pretty much. Almost exactly like the Cullens. Anyway, not a great book. Probably was a great book when it came out, because I'm guessing this has to be early to mid 2000s, because if it's not, oh, this was 2016. Oops. Maybe it was a popular book when it came out. I definitely thought this book was much older than it actually is. And then this was the biggest disappointment of the week. The Wise and the Wicked by Rebecca Potus. I think if I had gone back and researched more of Rebecca Potus's books, I would have realized I don't like this kind of book. Her writing is just not for me. The characters are great. I love the characters. I think I ended up giving this 3 stars or 3.5 stars. There is definitely a large group of people that this book would cater to. I am just not one of them. Unfortunately, I was not a fan. There was something that happened in the middle, and I can't say anything or it's gonna spoil a whole lot. There was something that happened in the middle that was supposed to be a plot point or a plot twist, and I did not like the way that was going at all, and it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. This book was just borderline underwhelming for me compared to what I had read previously that week. So, not my favorite. Really sad. I'm probably not gonna even hold on to it just because looking at it kind of makes me really upset that I didn't like it. And then the highlight of my Witch Please week, The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. Oh my gosh, this book. It's okay. So where the Graces had really flowery, thick writing, this is how to do flowery writing correctly. I felt haunted. I felt mesmerized. I felt like I was getting pulled in by the siren's song. I really connected with the characters. I almost cried. What? I absolutely loved this book. This is about the Swan sisters that they were executed many years ago for being witches, but now every year during the summer they come back as sirens and lure 3 young boys from the little tiny town of Sparrow. They lure them out into the water and kill them, and it happens every year. No one can stop it, no one can prevent it, because the sisters come back in the bodies of young women that live in the city. Oh, I absolutely loved this book. This is so good. The little tiny plot twist that's in here, you could totally guess it from a mile away. I almost started boo-hooing when it happened. I didn't care that I knew what was gonna happen. I loved every second of this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely my favorite read of the Witch Please Readathon. Now, I'm gonna sidetrack and talk about the 2 audiobooks that I listened to because I wanna save my absolute favorite book of the month for last. But the 2 audiobooks that I listened to were The Favorite Daughter by Kyra Rhoda? I think this author has a really weird name. I am sorry if I just butchered that, but it is about a mom who is grieving the death of her oldest daughter, who she considered to be her golden child. And in the midst of all this, you kind of start to find out that this family is not all that it's cracked up to be, and there's a very unreliable narrator, and this whole family is just full of problems. I didn't really care for this. I gave it a 3-star. It was very underwhelming. I didn't understand what the mom was talking about half the time, so it just kind of left me a little confused at the end. I didn't really care what had happened. I don't know. It just, learning all the family's secrets and everything should have been super interesting. Sadly, it wasn't. And then the second audiobook that I listened to was The Undertaker's Daughter by Sarah Bladel. This is a super weird book. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It was okay. I'm interested to read more of Sarah Bladel's work, because I don't think this was the best one for me to just introduce myself to her writing style with. But this is about a Dutch woman that she finds out that her biological father, who lives in America, who ran away when she was 10, has died and has left behind an inheritance for her. She goes to America and finds out that he has left a struggling funeral home in her name. While she's trying to figure out what to do, this murder case kind of pops up out of nowhere, and suddenly one of the bodies at her funeral home is involved. It's super confusing. If you've ever been interested in learning what funeral homes do on a day-to-day basis, definitely read this book. Otherwise, the plot was bland, but learning about the morgue and the funeral home was actually really interesting, and I think that's why I rated this book a little higher than I probably should have. And then for the piece de resistance, my favorite book of this month and this entire year, Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Oh my gosh, I will never stop talking about this book. This book is amazing. There was literally nothing I didn't like about this book. I love Riley Sager. His other 2 books are right here. I've given them both 5 stars. This one's the same, 5 stars. I would give it 100,000 stars if I could. This is about a girl that she accepts an apartment sitting job at the Bartholomew, which is an apartment complex in New York. But behind the walls of the Bartholomew, there are a lot of things going on that maybe are not quite what they seem. There are some rules for all of the apartment sitters to abide by, and that is you can never leave the apartment overnight. You have to stay in the apartment every single night. You can't have visitors ever, and don't talk to the other residents. Super creepy, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and she takes the job, and chaos ensues. If you want an amazing gothic psychological thrill, I'm getting too excited to talk. Psychological thriller, this is exactly what you need. If you want to dip your toe into a little bit of horror, this is the book you need. If you want a book that you could sit at the beach and read in a couple hours, you need this book. Literally, doesn't matter what you're looking for, this is the book for you. I love this. I love this so much. Obviously, because it's my favorite book I've read this year, and hands down, Riley Sager has definitely locked his position as one of my absolute favorite authors I have ever read. So yeah, that is the 15 books that I read in July. That is an insane amount. Also, I didn't talk about the reading rush because I read 2 books, and I think they completed 2 of the challenges, so I'm not really too worried about it. I'm gonna call it a dud, and I'm going to participate next year with a better mindset going into it. Also, it probably would do me good to not make the Witch Please Readathon the week before the reading rush. That was probably my downfall. Anyway, tell me down below what you all read this month. I would love to know, just in case there are some of my favorites that I've just never read in the comments. Please do follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads, because that is where I will be posting about what I'm reading and what I'm thinking. Also, if you want to support me down below, there is a link to get Color Street nails through my link. This is my way of supporting my book buying habit, of being able to make these videos, and if you would like to help me out and get some super cute nails, I mean, it's kind of a win-win, but my link is down below. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!